Okay, so this is my first video. I had decided to do videos as journal entries rather than write everything down because it's a little easier, and then there is the potential to upload them. So if you're watching this, then that means that I have decided to upload my videos and you can follow along during this whole process. So I have been trying to, really my story starts years and years and years ago. So through high school, I was fairly petite, never really had issues with weight. I could basically eat whatever I wanted and I didn't really gain a whole lot. To give you an idea, I was 5'10" and 100. The lowest I ever weighed was 115, and I averaged around 120, 125 throughout high school. I wasn't anorexic. I'm fairly petite bone-wise. My parents are fairly thin, and my siblings are thin. So even though I'm tall, that doesn't mean that I would ever want to be that weight again. It was really small. But I wasn't anorexic. I ate. I just was very petite. So that's kind of where I was during high school. And then things happened, emotional stressors, life, and for various reasons, I started to gain weight in college. As soon as I graduated, months later, I started packing on the pounds suddenly. And I kind of knew I had hormone issues. I knew that I had weight gain issues. I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I had very irregular cycles, menstrual cycles. So I knew that there was something kind of off in my body. I had a really unrealistic idea of my body, as we all probably do to some extent at some point in our lives. So for me, I thought 140, 145 was big, and really that was a good BMI for my height. So I just kept packing on the pounds, and then eventually I kind of tapered out at 170. And then stayed at 170 once I had children. So I got pregnant with my first, gained a lot of weight, and lost all of that, but 10 pounds. And then had postpartum depression, and I started emotionally eating, and either I wasn't eating anything, or when I was eating, it was just garbage. So then my weight went up to 180, went up to 190, and then I evened out at 190, and then sure enough, I got pregnant and so I did paleo diet, got my weight down to 170, my hormones evened out, and I got pregnant super fast, super easily, when that was not the case before. And then I went back up to in the 200s during my pregnancy, had my baby, and then tapered off at 207. And since then, I have been hovering around 215, 220. And the trend with my body is that I keep gaining weight, and it's not coming off. During this process, I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Basically, that means that it's similar to a certain type of diabetes in that my body does not process sugar the way it should. And so I am on metformin. Metformin helps my blood sugar, helps my body get rid of excess sugars. So it helps my blood sugar. But it hasn't helped with any other of my symptoms of PCOS. So hair growth in areas that women typically don't have hair growth. I have a lot of hair on my legs. I've had hair on my belly button. I've had hair on my chest after I had my babies. And so really not fun hair growth. And then, so you grow hair on your body, and then you lose hair on your head. And so my hair started thinning out. Some of that was stress. And and then the big one is you have crazy weird cycles. They're heavy, they're painful, and then they're sporadic. So for me, I had like 3-week long periods after my last baby. They would last 3 weeks. I'd have a week break, and then I'd have 3-week long period, and then I'd have a week off. And it was horrible. And before that, before I ever got pregnant, I would go sometimes 3 or 4 months between periods. And so I didn't have very many periods. So yeah, basically that's kind of where my struggle has been. I've tried the raw food diet. So basically I didn't eat anything cooked. I felt great and I lost a little weight, but it wasn't maintaining. I couldn't maintain that. It wasn't realistic. It took a lot of time with food prep, and that was before I was married and had children. So it would be almost impossible now. So that wasn't maintainable. I tried paleo. It was great, probably my favorite way of eating. But again, with food prep and that, it just hasn't stuck. After having my children, I've gotten a sugar. So after my pregnancies, I would crave carbs and sugar like crazy, like way more than I ever have in the rest of my life. And I definitely have an addiction to sugar now. So, so sugar and carbs are my problem area and if you know anything about PCOS, it's like the worst thing to eat. PCOS, basically sugar and carbs feed that issue and makes it worse. It's the cause of PCOS. So really for me, and what I've heard from a lot of people, is those who have PCOS, you have to do a really low carb diet and almost eat like you have diagnosed that you have a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. So you have to eat really low sugar foods for those symptoms to improve. So I'm not eating the way I should. And when I do eat low carb, I will start dropping the weight pretty quickly. So I know that that's a big issue I've had. I've tried paleo, I've tried keto, I've tried the little packaged meals, MetaFast. I've tried that, and it got to the point where everything tasted the same and it tastes like I was just eating cardboard. All of these things people have great results with and a lot of success, and for those who it works for, I think that's amazing. But for me, I just feel like I'm at the point now where I've tried so much in my life and nothing has stuck, and everything kind of goes back to the way it is before. So I feel like my weight goes down to 220, goes back up, or goes down to 200, goes back up to 20, goes down to 200, and I just can't get past that 200. Anytime life gets stressful or anything happens, which things are happening in my life all the time, with work and house life, projects around the house and my 2 kids, and it's crazy. So I have been seeing on Instagram, and I've talked to people, and I've had people here and there pop up where they talk about weight loss surgery. And at first I was like, no way. Like, that's awesome that worked for them, and I liked hearing their stories and I liked seeing their pictures, but I'm like, there's no way. I'm not the kind of person that goes in and gets surgery. I'll try other ways I can do this, the old-fashioned way with diet and exercise, and it's just getting harder and harder. And I think I needed to go through that process where I have tried everything, and I have tried exercise, and I have tried eating healthy, and I think now in my life what's hard is that I need help. Like, willpower alone should be enough, but it's just not for me. I've tried everything, and I think I just need help right now, because I know that I can eat. Like, I know that I can get there, but I just feel like I need some help. And so So that's why I am researching the gastric sleeve, so VSG surgery. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk to you about kind of what led me to that decision, what I've learned so far, the clinics that I have researched, and kind of go through this whole process and talk about my experience, because there are great accounts out there that I really enjoyed, but everyone's experience is going to be a little different. And I just think that for me, I really appreciate when I can find accounts where people document and talk about their experiences. So I figured that I would document this mostly for myself to track my progress, and then you can follow along if this interests you.